Welcome, everyone, to a Sunday night edition of the Sounding Off podcast. I am your host, Eddie Gonzalez, also known as the Moscow photographer. With me this evening are two distinguished gentlemen and personal friends of mine, and I will bring them on, Mr. Daniel Bosworth and Mr. Crimea, American in Crimea himself, Kevin Michelizzi. Did I get it right today?
Michelizzi, like pizza.
Michelizzi.
Pizza.
Okay, right. One of these days. How is everyone doing this evening?
Been a long and interesting day.
Wow, man, it's been a long. I'll say.
I was up late last night. Just I don't want to say like I'm shocked. Tucker Carlson talked about this. Just very, very happy that he's okay.
Absolutely. I was spending the weekend at a friend's dacha in Moscow region, and getting ready to doze off, but I'm last minute scrolling, and patron of the channel reached out and said, "Hey, have you seen what happened at the Trump rally in Pennsylvania?" No, I didn't even answer. Went to X. I saw it there. I think
we're so blessed to have X.
I slept maybe 3 hours. Yeah, absolutely. And just kind of wanted to ingest all of this information, and try to make sense of it, and waiting for everybody to wake up as we could kind of discuss it. And now my cohorts here have had an opportunity, like I have, to kind of filter through some of the news, filter through some of these posts and videos and all this stuff. I have more questions than I have answers. I think most people in America, probably all over the world, feel the same. What do you guys think? What are y'all thinking?
I think that this was a tragic state for, I don't know, I hate to use the word democracy, but democracy in the United States. Fortunately, Trump tilted his head at the right time. And I think this has been a great draw for the conspiracy theorists all over the world. I have watched some absolutely outrageous analyses today.
Same.
And I'm going to go with my thoughts on it ultimately, but being more your area of expertise, Eddie, I'm going to have some firearms questions for you.
Yeah, I've got questions too, and I haven't had a chance to really reach out to some of my friends who are more experts in arms and in long rifles and snipers and all that good stuff. But we will, we'll do our best.
In this day and age, how aren't there any drones flying around?
Who said there weren't?
As part of security.
Who said there weren't?
I heard. I saw a few people saying no drones in the air.
I actually saw aerial footage that was taken from a drone, so I know they had drones up there.
Okay. Now, who had drones?
Good question.
Right, and I also saw a video of a guy explaining that they watched him climb up with a rifle onto the roof. They're informing the police that there's a gentleman climbing up onto a roof with a rifle, and nothing's being done about it.
Well, go ahead, Eddie.
I'm going to I'm going to hold up right there. The reason is of course, I'm talking out my behind here because none of us have seen the ops plan for this security detail. That's one. We haven't seen it. We don't know what it says. But having worked similar events where there is an operations plan, it very, very detailed. I can guarantee you that. And say, let's use this, let's talk about this. Okay. We've seen that video. I don't know if we have it here where this eyewitness who is not inside the actual event, he's outside and he sees a man climbing.
Many people saw it.
Many people, but we have this on record.
Right.
So he's describing what he saw. He saw the man climb up on the top and kind of like did a little crawl on his belly with a rifle behind, and that he notified police. Well, we don't know what police, who police, right? So I'm not going to go there. But let's take that scenario. With this ops plan, you have designated points where you have law enforcement, whether they be Secret Service, whether they be undercover officers that are plainclothes officers. You may have uniformed local police, all kinds of security. And each one has a designated post. Okay, that's your area. And so you can loiter within that particular area. Everyone has a radio with a common radio frequency, with a common radio channel that's already been pre-planned. Everything checks out. So if I'm at a post and maybe I'm outside the parade grounds and a citizen comes up to me and says, "Hey, I think I saw a guy with a rifle on top of that building." Where? And I look. Do I leave my post and run on my own to investigate? Yes and no. The first thing I'm going to do is radio it in. Why? Because there are people who have a better bird's eye view. I just need to direct their vision to where this person, this eyewitness is telling me there's something going on. Okay? That's what would have happened. So the citizen tells the officer, a prudent officer would have gotten on the radio, notified whoever, "Hey, have a citizen advising yada, yada, yada on this building." And immediately the eyes that are supposed to be watching are immediately going to go to this area. At the same time, there's probably response units. Okay, these are guys and gals that are designated in different areas that will respond if there's something in that little area. This is a very intricate operations plan. Okay, these things just don't, "Oh, Trump's coming into town, so let's just put a couple of guys here." No, not at all. So the response team for this particular area would have already been hooking it in that direction. Meanwhile, you've got the eyes who can see, might be a drone, might be spotters, might be a sniper group that's already looking in that direction to see what they can see. Meantime, you've got units running. But the police officer that this eyewitness told, most likely, unless he can see something himself, is not going to engage. So they can say, "Well, I told him, but he didn't do anything. He just stood there." Well, he probably did something, but not in the way most people would understand. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, definitely. But how about the sniper that was on the roof behind President Trump, looking in that direction?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So
let me add a little something in there before you go with the spotters. So I lost all the videos and things I had queued up. Ken Valentine was on quite early this morning. He's former CIA operative, or not CIA, Secret Service operative, was on presidential detail. And he actually explains some of this as well. There are guys assigned to each area, like Eddie was saying, and it is their responsibility, if they're notified of something, to go check it out, because they don't know for sure that it's a guy up there with a rifle. It could be somebody climbing up there with a camera to get a better view of Trump. I did this myself when they launched, from Titusville, space launches. You climb up on the building with your camera, your binoculars, whatever, and you get a better view. So they actually have to check it out so they're not killing an innocent civilian. But like Eddie was about to say, you've got this counter sniper team up there. And a lot of the questions out there today center around these guys. So go ahead, Eddie. I just wanted to add that little piece in.
No. But
why they check.
right. So the sniper team run in pairs. You've got the actual guy on the gun, and he's got a spotter. So when I said that the officer is going to get on the radio and notify someone, it's immediately to put all these eyes on this area for people to move toward this area to investigate. So, yeah, those guys right there.
Yes.
So
looking right at him.
The guy on the right is in a position to take a shot. The other guy is going for his rifle. He's put down his binoculars. They found the guys. They've spotted him. They've ranged him. And what people have to realize is it takes them a little bit of time to calculate the air temperature, wind speed, angle of the shot and everything. So it isn't they just point their gun at him and start shooting.
Correct. But the reason that they're already aimed in a certain direction means they've already been alerted and they know where to look now. So the questions around this is like, well, the system didn't work. Well, I think the system worked because I'll give you an example. Let's say no one notified this police officer, and suddenly we hear pop, 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 pop. Suddenly, now you're going to have a delay because now you've got spotters and maybe drones. You got everybody looking for the direction of the sound. They find the direction of the sound. Now they're searching. They find it. Now you're going to hear boom, 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 boom back. It's going to be a delay. With this situation, we have a citizen sees something, reports it to a law enforcement officer. Law enforcement officer got on the radio, immediately notified. All eyes train in this particular direction. They see it. And suddenly there's pop, 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 and then boom, boom, boom.
Sorry about that.
No.
I'm re-uploading my stuff. Yeah.
But Eddie, you said the system worked.
Yeah. And this
but
is
how?
the video I'm going to...
How did it work if Trump got hit?
Shooters down.
Yeah. And this is what I'm going to show you here. This is the Secret Service guys doing their job.
They're doing their job. The president's shaken, but proper protocol, as you see here, and this is his normal team, their heads replace his head. But there you go. That's why.
So this is why the system worked. They protected him after he had been shot at. Now, it's impossible for them to cover every scenario to keep him from being shot at. Eddie sent me a thumbnail earlier today. I modified it a bit because I saw a lot of misinformation about this. Trump was the second president injured by shooting. There were actually 4 presidents killed by shooting. We have had 3 injured by shooting. We had Teddy Roosevelt took a shot to the chest. by a gun. And we had Ronald Reagan, and we had Trump now. So you can't say that these guys weren't doing their jobs because they couldn't prevent them from being shot. You know, you could surround them with 100 guys, but if they want to be out in the open like that, in an open field, in an open rally, there's no way they can cover 100% to prevent it. So they did what they could. He was not killed by, you know, act of God, sheer luck, whatever. But the other thing I want to point out here is we hear a lot about these people who were there outside the perimeter pointing out to the police that there was a shooter on the roof. The roof is like this that the guy was on. The guy was on this, well, the guy was on this side of the roof, beyond the peak where they could see him. So when they made that report to the police, he was back here. So the spotters, the snipers, could not see him, but they were looking in that direction. So it wasn't until he came over that peak and they could see him up here that they could actually range him, target him, and shoot. And it takes time.
How far was the guy from the rally, from where President Trump was?
I don't have those details.
400 yards?
I don't have those details.
I've seen reports that it was 150 to 200 yards. I don't know for sure. I've seen some guys who, you know, pulled up Google Maps and said, well, according to this, it's 100 yards. Larry Johnson took a look at it earlier today. He said about 150 to 200.
So 1 or 2 football fields.
A couple of football fields.
Just so people understand, 1 or 2 football fields. In this day
American
and age,
football fields.
yes. In this day and age, how can someone just with a rifle in front of other people with cops standing around in that crowd be able to just climb up onto a roof and shoot? And by the hand of God, it's definitely a hand of God, we're able to hit the president in the ear. I don't think there were drones, Kevin. I don't think there were drones.
There
I
was
don't
a
know if
drone
there
up
were
there.
drones. I don't know. That's
From what
why
I
I
understand,
said I
there
don't
were
know.
I have seen overhead video footage from a drone, but I will repeat, I don't know whose drone it was. I don't know if it was news. I don't know if it was Secret Service or what. However, that's neither here nor there. It has nothing to do with the story. How? You're dealing with a large area, and I don't have the map of it here because I didn't get it uploaded because I got dropped out of the studio for a second. But if you look at it, it is a large open area, and where Trump is over here is the stage. And then we've got the buildings, the 3 red buildings where the snipers are. And then up over this way, you've got a whole series of warehouses. And they're in kind of in an L shape. And everybody that was involved in this, all the people who saw it inside and outside the perimeter, were kind of in this space like this, surrounded by these buildings on 2 sides. So, you know, there's parking lot behind the buildings up over here. So a guy sneaking in and going between buildings that are only, you know, a meter apart and climbing up a building is totally possible. You know, they can't have it. You have to understand, you're expecting them to have hundreds and hundreds of police officers, state patrol, special, you know, Secret Service agents out there, and there just isn't money for that. Secret Service teams are extremely small, and they have to coordinate with local law enforcement.
That's exactly what they do.
But wouldn't you think that they would have someone at locations that are high up where somebody can climb up high to get a shot off? Wouldn't it make sense 100 or 200 yards out, a building like that? I mean, there were people standing around there, so they were just listening. They weren't inside, but they were listening. They were outside. They were outside of the event, right? But
So
still close enough where they saw the guy with a rifle climbing up onto a building. You're telling me that they wouldn't have someone standing there, like a police, like state or city or town or secret, somebody standing there to make sure that nobody climbs up to this high area, to this roof?
how many? It's multiple buildings. How many guys are you going to post there? What about the water tower that was behind Trump? Why was nobody posted, on top of the tower?
Not even on top, but at the bottom to prevent somebody from going up.
That's something we can't answer. Like Eddie started out with, we haven't seen the operational plan.
That's probably one of the first things they're going to look at.
Yeah.
Is they're going to tear that ops plan apart. Then they're going to talk about, okay, who did the advance work? They're going to talk to them because the advance team is the one who kind of starts the ball rolling to create the ops plan. And here's another thing. A lot of these ops plans are put together extremely fast when you have a politician that says, oh, I want to go here tomorrow, or I want to go here in 3 days. So they get put together really, really quick. But there has to be a very big and detailed investigation to find where these loopholes occurred, because
Eddie, I think this trip to Pennsylvania was not just within the last 2 days. Trump said, "I'm going here."
No. This one was planned. But I'm saying whoever did this advance. Okay, so now you got an advance team that goes out. They surveil the area. They look at what are the possible threats, and they have a method, a cookbook, so to speak, on how to deal with this particular event that they're going to cover. And then they've got to go look for help. And what I mean by that is they'll contact the State Highway Patrol. They'll contact the local sheriff's department. If it's in a city, the local police department, and they'll say, okay, guys, we need some help. We need traffic control. We need logistical control. We need manpower on the ground. We need this. We need that. We need X number of people. Who can how many can you give us? How many cars can you give us? So then that starts that math process. And it's a very, very big operation. And
and then even if it's planned, and we've got questions out there, Ms. McInnes. Yes, they plan this weeks in advance, Zariel, not only for POTUS, for Trump, the presidential candidates that they're covering. It's done for everybody that has Secret Service protection. But you're now trying, in a period of 2-3 weeks, trying to coordinate all these various agencies together on this operations plan that the Secret Service knows inside out. But, again, you've got to tell this group of guys, here's your responsibility. You guys, this is yours. You guys over here, this is yours. And then when people look and say, well, why wasn't somebody doing this? Well, could be many reasons. And this is what they will be looking into is, A, was it planned to keep an eye on these buildings? B, who is responsible for it? Was there a lack of communications? Did we have guys who were not trained well enough? Lots of ifs that we just don't know at this point.
Well, you saw the one Secret Service woman trying a few times to get her pistol into her, and then she dropped down, left President Trump wide open. Did you guys see that when they were trying to put him into the car? She couldn't put her pistol into her holster, And then she also dropped, what was it, her sunglasses or something, where she bent down and left him wide open.
I did see there's one photograph. It's a still from the video when they're huddled around President Trump on stage. And
Yeah,
I
what was
see
that all about?
an agent holding sunglasses in their hands. Okay. And this goes back to training. If you have something in your hands and you need to engage with something or somebody, unless it's your weapon, you drop it and you go into it. But I'm not going to Monday morning quarterback that, because I guarantee it, their boss has already probably chewed their behind on that already.
But what was all that about?
And this isn't a justification, but Trump was already in the car.
But how about on stage? They covered him. He was down. Why then stand up? And then they're all just standing there for a few seconds, and then they're letting him do. You got to run him out of there right away.
I showed you that video already of them doing their jobs. Their job at that point is to get their heads in the way of his heads. But Donald Trump, being Donald Trump, has got to get up and he's got to say, hey, everybody, I'm okay. Fight, fight, fight. So you saw them struggling, keeping him covered. You even saw one agent who, as he's poking his head out, he's putting his hand and his arm in front of him. They were doing their jobs.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's easy, not easy, but it's easy for people to sit and critique from their kitchen or on their sofa and watching. But unless you're there, like some people were saying, it's staged. Not enough people were screaming, not enough people were running away. I'm like, they're in bleachers like sardines. Where are they going to go running? One, and two, I'm a military vet. I served 4 years in the Army, and I saw how different people reacted in different situations. I was in war for 6 months. So we all act differently. There was one guy, they were saying, one guy wearing black was just standing there, not even moving, not even ducking, nothing. But that's how he was reacting. It takes every individual person, it takes their brain to process what's going on and then to react. Look, something happens in the street, right? You see people fighting, or you hear gun. There are going to be some people that run away, and there are going to be some people that run to it to go help, right? So we're all different in that sense. So you can't judge how people were acting or not crying or screaming enough or not running. I mean, it happened so quickly,
Well, and again, Ken was talking about this earlier, being, former Secret Service again. Trump acted exactly like they would want him to. And most people that have been shot don't think, gee, I've been shot, and duck down to the ground. So Trump responded. He wasn't trained to do that. That's what they would hope he would do. But that was an off-the-cuff reaction by him.
They say he wasn't trained to do that.
Well,
we don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got you.
Could be.
So several years ago, it was fall of 2022, I think October. I went to a Trump rally in Robstown, Texas. And I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to sit behind the president. So when you're looking at the president on television, all those people that are behind there, they are usually either donors or very prominent people in the Republican Party, close friends of a politician, so on and so forth. Anyway, you do have to go through an extra level of security once you get that. And once you enter there and the president is already on the grounds, you don't move, you don't leave. Anyway, I took some video from behind the stage. And of course, this is before the president arrived, but there's a couple of things I want to show you folks. So I'm going to play this little video, and then we'll play it one more time, and I'm going to stop it. But So I am in the bleachers directly behind the stage. There's the stage. Actually, it's not me. It's my friend who's filming. This is a few hours before President Trump's arrival. Yeah, there's me. Okay, let me show you something. I want to show you the stage, and I don't even know if I can make this bigger. But if you see where the podium is, you see the two speakers on the floor, and then you see this barricade in front. That is a bulletproof barricade. So if Trump did get hit, either if he was instructed or just by instinct dropped behind that barricade for some cover, maybe not knowing where the shots were coming from, but his first instinct was to duck because I've got this barricade and it's going to shield me. And so that's what that stage looks like. And you'll have the agents posted right here by these next to the risers and these stairs where they can get in very, very quick.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
The Pope has a car with bulletproof glass or bulletproof, what is it around him, right? Why can't they have this around the president or presidential candidates when they do stuff like this?
Maybe he just doesn't want it.
Yeah, a lot of it is what the politician wants. We can go back to John F. Kennedy. You know, they say, why was he in an open convertible? Because he wanted it that way. He did not want a car with a roof on it. He wanted to be able to wave to people. Trump wants these rallies where he can interact with people. In 2016, I was at one of his rallies in Minneapolis. And like Eddie says, once you're in, you're in. You aren't leaving no matter what happens. And at that particular case, they didn't have people back off from like in Eddie's video. There were people right up to the stage, but we were so tightly controlled getting in there, you couldn't have scratched a flea on your nose if you tried to without permission. But this is what Trump wanted at the time. So in this case, Trump doesn't want to be enclosed in a bulletproof cage.
Yeah, Zarael, no, this roof, this photo that you were seeing, that video that I just ran, that was from a Trump rally in 2022 in Robstown, Texas. So I just wanted to show that so I could show the stage from behind the stage so you could see the barricade. But that is not from the rally in Pennsylvania.
So question.
But they would have had one of those barricades there.
It was the same one, same stage.
Yeah.
This is a traveling show,
right,
as you can, traveling production.
So Eddie, what you just discussed in the beginning, you know, your former police, and you were discussing how they have deputies and maybe state and police, town, city. And you said that if somebody sees something, they'll tell an officer, then he has to radio it, and then they're going to go look at that. But
whatever protocol that officer has been told, according to the ops plan.
But you're telling me that he can't run.
I didn't say that. Let's back up.
And while he's running, say it, you know?
I don't know what's in the ops plan, first of all.
Depends
Second
on
of
the
all,
plan. Yeah.
Second of all, we don't now. If that officer sees an imminent threat, maybe they say in the ops plan, okay, here's what you do. Somebody comes to you and tells you they see something, you radio it in. If you see an imminent threat, you radio in and you engage. That could be in the ops plan, but I don't know. I haven't.
Will we know? Will we know?
I'm sure one day when this investigation's over with.
So,
I'm sure.
But Eddie, Kevin, with your experience, do you feel like they did their job and they did it, to the best of their ability?
You waiting
I
for
think-
me, Eddie?
No, I think they did their job. Did they do it to the best of their ability? I don't know. That's for the investigation to determine whether they get an A+ or a C- or what.
So
I'd love to be in that after action room at after action meeting.
From what you've seen, videos from the eyewitness, what he said, things of other people talking about this. What's your gut feeling about this?
Here's what I'll tell you about this eyewitness. This eyewitness was not being questioned by an investigator who is trained to extract details and information. This is just a guy with a microphone and a camera stuck in front of him and they ask him, "What did you see?" "Well, I saw this, I saw that, and I saw this, and I saw that." Okay, once he is being questioned by a law enforcement officer, a trained investigator who can extract details from what they've said and kind of build this picture up, that's the interview that I want to see. Of course, that's the one we won't see, but I can't go by what this guy just says, off the top of his mouth.
As an example, the BBC was interviewing one of these guys who saw the shooter as well. And it started out with, "Yeah, I saw him climb up on the building and I told the police officer." And then it was, "Oh, the guy was up there for 2 minutes before he shot." Then his next statement was, "Yeah, it was at least 4 or 5 minutes." Then it became 7 or 8 minutes. So this is the problem with, reporters gathering information. I see a car accident between a white and a blue car. I tell Eddie and he tells you. By the time you come back to me, it's a purple and green car.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, I think they did a good job. I think they did their job. Could they have done it better? I have to go with what Eddie says. We don't know enough. This investigation will say it. Let's gander at this video a little bit and hear what's said here.
It's not going to show it.
So Ken Valentine is former Secret Service.
Are you able to see it, Ken?
Well, the what I'm seeing is from the moments right as he gets hit and reacts. So, and the camera angle is obviously shading, that action. So,
wow.
But again, credit to President Trump as well for his reaction. He gives the telltale sign that he's been hit, and then he obviously has a millisecond to think about it, and he himself gets down. And so that is, that's what we want him to do. We don't want heroes on the stage to point to the shooter or anything like that. We want him to get down, and it certainly aids in that covering part of the action and reaction by the Secret Service. So credit to President Trump for the presence of mind to do what needed to be done there and to take swift action.
Yeah. You mentioned he gave a sign. I don't want to give anything away of a president, but is a president also trained on what to do if they are in distress?
Well, no, they're not. What I was actually referring to is he went up to his ear to say something's wrong, kind of like a choking victim, goes to their throat to say something's wrong, and he motioned to his ear and then had the presence of mind to get down. And I think to his credit, presence of mind is everything. A lot of people, are struck and in that moment and don't react like that. So obviously.
So I'll stop this for a moment. I'll queue up the other part I was going to look for here. So give me a minute while you guys talk.
All right. This is a question. I don't know if anyone can answer, but who do you think is behind this?
Good question. I don't know enough. I don't know enough about this shooter that has been presented to us. And of course, motive, all of that good information, you know, I don't know.
Yeah,
So
it was
this-
what, 6 millimeters or 4 millimeters or 7 millimeters? What was it like? So
I don't even have the specifics about that. I just know that, yeah, if he probably wouldn't have turned his head at that moment.
well, some people were saying, oh, the people that are saying this was staged. They're like, it's impossible because the best sniper in the world could not shoot and hit an ear, like missing the head by like 7 millimeters. It's impossible to be staged.
Yeah, mathematicians have already done the math on this.
Yeah,
I sent this to Eddie while he was on his way back from the dacha. And they say that it was impossible for it to have been staged. They say through calculations, they determined that the angle of deviation of the bullet for the shooter was 7/100ths of a degree, making it impossible for a sniper to deliberately achieve.
Yes.
The average distance between the ear and the center of a person's brain is 15 centimeters, and the shooter was 120 meters away. The sign of the shooter's error angle was calculated to be 0.00125, and the arc sign is 0.00125. The error angle value is 0.0716 degrees. That means, it was 0.07 degrees that the guy had to work with. So you take into wind, speed, shooting accuracy and things. It was God's hand that he survived.
God's hand, definitely.
So this kind of goes to what you were asking about earlier about getting a weapon in there, Daniel.
Yeah. Okay. So it was at first believed that it came from the bleachers. Everyone was saying, how did somebody get in here with a weapon? We've now learned that outside of the arena, outside of the event, there was what looks like a building or a warehouse with a metal roof. And just before the shots were fired, there was a witness, a gentleman who was who was at the BBC being interviewed. And he said, there's somebody on the roof. There's somebody on the roof. And they immediately ran over and the person was crouched down. They couldn't see them. And then all of a sudden, pop, 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 those first 4 pops. And it looks like the shooter was taken out very quickly. Would there have been Secret Service or police around the event? Who would have taken that person out?
Right. As the images were scrolling on TV while I was watching a little earlier today, someone did have a photo of our counter sniper team. And so we do deploy a counter sniper element, oftentimes many teams, and they work in tandem, 2 at a time. The photo that I saw showed one of the counter snipers down on his rifle, and that is the posture for taking a shot. I was trying to see if his finger was on the trigger, because that would also be a sign that he does have a target engaged. The other sniper, who typically would be up on the binoculars, and so you have a spotter and you have a shooter. But in this photo, what struck me was that you had 2 guys going to their weapons, which tells me that it's very possible that they had already identified a shooter and were moving in to eliminate that shooter.
So, that's kind of that deal. A lot of people look at that picture of the 2 snipers and they say, well, look at the one guy. He's just sitting there watching. They're assuming that static photo is two guys
Mhm.
sitting there for minutes on end just staring
No.
off at this guy. That
No.
is one short moment in history.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. So let me ask you guys a question. Does this confirm 100% his election for president his to be president, his presidency? Do you think this is going to guarantee him the election?
No. I think it'll make him more popular. That's my opinion. I don't think it'll guarantee anything. You know, lots can go wrong in the next, 9 weeks?
Yeah, if 2020 was any indication, anything can happen. But I think this is a pivotal moment for many, many people in America. Undecided voters, I think this is a wake-up call. This is a shake. This is also a shake to a lot of people who have been kind of listening to the news, but not really paying attention to the news. And then they can finally say, well, wait a minute. You've been trying to get this guy eliminated from the ballot in all 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
You've filed all these charges against him. You convicted him on some BS crap. And now he sort of beat that charge. And of course, I'm talking as an ordinary American, right? Who's not into any of this stuff, but they're thinking, this is how they're thinking. And the Supreme Court just came out and said that Trump's got immunity. So, and now somebody tries to take him out. Man, they really want this guy gone.
And I think
that's when the light bulb is going to really, really lighten up.
I think for a lot of people, it's gonna help him with votes. I think it's gonna wake a lot of people up once they start seeing really what they're putting him through, and then now this assassination attempt. I think he's gonna get a lot more votes, a lot more people coming to his side.
I think that's a very good possibility, and we'll see in the next few days, because RNC is this week, is it not?
Sure.
Starting Wednesday, I believe, Wednesday or Thursday.
And it's going to be rocking once he gets up there.
The 17th, which is today's 14? So the Wednesday.
So I'm going to put this up here simply because it's a jumping off point for a different point. The Simpsons predictions. And Zariel means it seriously. And I'll tell you seriously, Zariel, I put zero credibility into predictions like that. It's real easy to take anything. Bible, codex, reading the seventh word of the book of Proverbs and putting it together to get sentences. You can make a prediction out of anything done in the past, fit what you want it to in the future. So I put zero credibility into anything that you're going to find in a cartoon or something like that. I won't go into quoting Bible verses about predictions and fortune tellers and things, but
we do know that the deep state, they worship Satan, the devil, and through Hollywood, through movies and TV series and things like that, they tell us actually what they're going to do. It's a known fact. They tell us, like the movie Contagion, right? Did you guys see the movie Contagion? You'll see in Hollywood, a lot of these actors are have been blackmailed. They use them. I mean, so with The Simpsons, maybe they're doing it, you know, because The Simpsons is like predicting a lot of stuff. So maybe they're using, maybe it's their way of telling us in their sick way what they're going to be doing in the future. They do it through movies, through commercials, TV series, whatever, the news.
I guess is what I'm going to answer you on that one. Prove it. This was kind of my jumping off point with Zariel on that. Yes, I listened to Dan Bongino a little earlier today, and he got into some of this stuff as well. They always tell you what they're going to do. You know, they're out there right now painting that this was obviously the Democratic Party planning to shoot Trump because Biden said a couple of weeks ago that it's time to put a target on Trump.
Bullseye.
Now, that's taken a statement saying it's time to target Trump, as in it's time for us to go after him. He's my opponent. We need to beat him. Twisting the words around and making a prediction out of it and saying, see, they tell us in advance. The news media told us in advance they were going to shoot Trump. And, you know, I don't put a lot of credibility in that.
I'll just say this about Dan Bongino. I love Dan Bongino. I used to listen to him all the time. I haven't listened to him in quite a while, but lately I have because he's former Secret Service. He does have some very good questions.
I agree.
Let me just say this about Dan Bongino. He's a political operative, in my opinion, more so than maybe a journalist or just a podcaster. So I listen to what he says, but it's heavily slanted in one direction. And so, although I do respect his opinion and I respect what he says, I kind of have to weigh it against other stuff. Whereas this Ken Valentine guy, never heard him before, never, I don't know who this person is, but from a credibility standpoint, he was much more convincing and much more neutral. And sometimes I even thought maybe there was some cope involved, but in the end, in that interview, he did say, look, there's going to be a report card coming out, and either we did really, really well, Secret Service, or did really, really bad, and let the investigation figure out what happened. And I think that's, you know, the best way to go.
I agree. You got to look at different sources. You have to decide for yourself. I do listen to Dan Bongino. I put a little more faith in Ken Valentine, but that's just a personal opinion. So,
guys, do you believe in the white hats, the black hats, right? The deep state? Do you believe that there's a government, a shadow government?
Well, in fact, I had planned to have an episode dedicated to the deep state, and but we
Eddie
just
and I
never got
talked
around
about
to
that.
it.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, we just never really got into it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we talked about that, and I think we should save most of it for that. But go with your initial thoughts. It's your show, after all.
No.
Just a yes or no question. I want to know where you guys stand. Do you believe in Q and the white hats and the black hats and the deep state, and that there's a shadow government and Obama's in his third term? Like, do you believe all of that?
I'm going to save all that juiciness for that other episode, but
Okay.
I will tell you what I do believe, or not what I believe, but what I work in the realm of possibilities and probabilities. Okay, is anything possible? Absolutely. Is it probable in any one particular moment? That's a different question. So that's where I come from. Okay, is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? Maybe, maybe not. And so yeah, but I think that's going to be a great episode. Man, we're going to need 2-3 hours for that one. That maybe an intermission.
And I'll give you my version of the same thing Eddie said. I believe that some of those things are likely as far as other people in control of things.
Good word.
I do not necessarily buy into the whole shebang. And Zariel, a pastor from 2008, is not proof. Somebody said, Nostradamus said, and if you go back and you read Nostradamus, he predicted all of this too, and he didn't even know Trump and Biden's names. So, this kind of plays into the same thing. If you go into the past and you want to apply something, you can. God, I don't know why my mind keeps going to the Bible on this one, but many people do this. They justify a situation today based on what they read in the Bible without understanding the context.
So
yes,
today I shared on my Telegram channel, Matt Wallace. It was on X. The CIA is behind this. I am about to expose everything. Pray for Donald Trump. Matt Wallace. The CIA is behind this. I am about to expose everything.
I saw that.
What are your thoughts?
The first thing I thought was, man, that's a great title for a YouTube video. I mean, that's clickbaitable, man. I like it. That was my first thought. Okay. My second thought was, okay, put your money where your mouth is. Let's see it. So I've seen a lot of this on X. People will come out with these outlandish,
what, just for views?
Prospects. No, they'll just say, hey, I've seen this on X. You see this a lot. And they'll put a picture of Hillary Clinton and they say, Hillary Clinton, you're next. Or prepare to be exposed. And then I wait. And I wait.
Right.
I wait. I'm still waiting. And then next week it's, Obama, prepare to be exposed. Well, wait a minute, time out. I'm still waiting for Hillary, So, yeah, I think it's entertainment.
Can we all agree 100% that it was not staged?
No, this was real. Those were real bullets. That was a real life. That was a real life that that person was killed. That was in the stands. There was another victim that was severely injured as well. It was very real.
Yeah.
Kevin, 100%?
I'll say this, none of us knows 100% for sure, but I'm willing to make the statement that this was not staged by the Trump campaign to make him more popular. And beyond that, I'm not willing to make any predictions.
Well, mathematicians got together and said it was definitely not staged.
When you get into the realm of conspiracies, right? And you say, well, it was a conspiracy to have him eliminated. Okay, well, connect your dots. Let's see it. And we haven't seen that yet. Now, I know that there are people who live in the conspiracy world. I was there for a while. And you're just looking. You're looking for this. You're looking for signs, right? You're looking for this. I'll give you a. You want to go down the Q road? Let's go down the Cucumber Road.
Hold on a sec. Can you hold that thought for a second? What do you mean, the conspiracy world?
What
does that mean? Like people that just.
I'm going there.
Because
if you know if you know about the Q, put it down in the comments. Let's see how many of the people that are watching right now put it down in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'll give you an example of how this mythological, greater than life, huge, and of course, I'm not saying that I believe it or don't. I'm just saying it could be a psyop. We don't know.
Well, hold on. What is a psyop?
Psychological operation. And we'll answer that when you watch our episode on the deep state. Because I knew a guy who worked in psychological operations, United States Army. Yeah. And when he was drunk, he used to talk a lot. Anyway. But
well, and some guys who work in that area become YouTubers and they talk a lot.
Yeah. True. You might know a few. Anyway. Okay, we've got a few cucumbers there. All right. There's a post where it starts off, the shot heard around the world. Okay. And then, okay, I remember this. It was big because now you're looking. I remember it. I don't know when this post came out, 2018, something like this, 2019 maybe. And I remember just waiting. Where's the shot? Where's the shot? Was that the shot? No. Maybe that's the shot. Heard around the world. No. Maybe it's this one. You're searching for it. Now, when this happened on Saturday, Roger Stone, and if you don't know who Roger Stone is, Google it. But Roger Stone, he retweeted this Q post that said, the shot heard around the world. And suddenly now there's a whole bunch of people. And I sent it to you. I think I sent it to you, Daniel, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
I sent that and I was like, check this out. Because it's one of those things that as a person who's read about Q and read the Q posts, it does make you go, okay? It does make you do that. But are you the type that's just going to say, that's very interesting? Or are you going to go and chase that thought? This was the shot heard around the world. I don't know. Maybe not. But I think everyone's opinion and thoughts on the Q posts are like your approach to the Bible and religion and spirituality in general. It's a very personal thing. And I respect your interpretation, your beliefs, and what you think about this phenomena or this, whatever it is. I respect that. And I only ask that you would respect mine as well. And that's how I live in the Q world. I used to live in it a lot.
So, Eddie or Kevin, can you put this comment up from Dizetto00? Druzia еще раз. So he's, friends, I'll ask you again. What do you think could be the reason for this? If we exclude the fact that the person is mentally ill. I believe I translated that. Right? So he wants us to tell him what's the reasoning behind what's the reason behind this, what happened.
That
okay.
is
I like the question.
Say again, Eddie.
I like this. I like this question because of where it's going, and the question is, or not the question, but it brings me back to the United States of America has a mental health crisis.
Yes,
we agree on that.
Yes,
and
unfortunately, yes, this is true. That's fact.
Where all this craziness. Now, where the craziness comes from, I don't know, but there is a lot of dysfunctional minds
It's
in
grooming
America.
from a young child. It's what they're doing in the school system. They're grooming the children. They're grooming children at a young age, and they don't know who they are. They're a boy, they think they're a girl, or the girl, they think they're a boy. They don't, they're just very confused individuals. It's very
Absolutely. What
sad, very
Christopher
sad.
says here, confirmation bias is everyone's dilemma. It takes years, guys. I'm going to get rid of your program bias. Yeah, Roger Stone's post triggered confirmation bias for all these cucumbers, that just came out of the woodworks because I started reading all the comments. And of course, I read it, and I'm just one of those that, interesting. But I don't take it to the extreme, And I think Roger Stone, I don't think maybe he is a Q follower or not, but Roger Stone is a master at grabbing the attention. He's a master of refocusing attention on where he wants you to look or you to go. And I thought it was brilliant what he put out last night. If you don't know who Roger Stone is, like I said, Google him.
Well, like Eddie was saying about people and their meds.
Somebody finally had the balls to bring a pew-pew, and he missed! We were a second away! We were a centimeter away from half of the problem being gone, and you missed!
Yeah, that's
somebody who didn't take their drugs.
So explain to me how people that support Biden and the Democrats, they support BLM, they support Antifa, can be so aggressive towards other humans and wish harm on them. I'm not understanding this. They're about equal rights, and if he wants to be a woman, he can be a woman, call him they, them, or whatever. Respect us, but then they wish harm and death on other people. Like what that's a mental illness. Because they're doing the opposite of what they're asking us, right? They're asking us how to treat them and how to act towards them and with the president that they choose. But then their opponent, they want dead. And protesters, they want to harm and hurt. I don't understand this.
Well, it doesn't usually in all situations, what looks like the vocal majority is actually a small group of people that are very vocal. And what happens, because they are so vocal, and in this case, they've got support of the government in Biden and his administration, it keeps the people that don't have the mental illnesses afraid to speak. It keeps people in line. I hate to pick an example like this out of the blue, but I remember a case, what was it, like 20 years ago? Two gay guys go into a cake shop.
Is this a joke?
Christian cake shop. And
I know this. Yeah.
Ask him to make a wedding cake for him. And the guy said, based on my religious beliefs, I can't do it. Right. Well, and they sued him. They made a big stink out of it and everything.
Right.
But what would have happened if they just went and bought it at a different cake shop? But because they made such a big stink out of it, it became a focal point for many people with a lot of problems to say, see, we have a right. And then you get that small vocal minority who then is driving laws and legislation and
right.
And the normal people just go, eh.
But those two guys, I'm not saying them in general, but the ones that are mentally ill, that have been brainwashed, they'll fight for their right to get a cake, but then in the next week they'll go to a protest and then they'll start attacking people physically and then yelling out, kill him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is what I don't understand, you know, like it's scary, very scary, very scary that there are people roaming this planet that think like this. It scares me.
Yeah, I think Christopher said it back here a little bit. Let me see if I can find his comment. Here you go. Neuro-linguistic programming.
Mm-hmm.
Or perception management, as we used to say in the DoD.
Yeah, it's really okay. So, conspiracy theory. I don't like that conspiracy theory, conspiracy theorists. Like I don't like that terminology. But look in the last 3 years, like 3 years ago, how we talk, you know, about things that happened in the last 3 years when they spoke about it, and then now it's coming true now with when it comes to COVID and different things, right? They say it's a conspiracy theory. They said it was a conspiracy theory 3 years ago, but in the last 3 years, so many true things have come to light where they said it was a conspiracy theory.
It happens sometimes.
I think
This
there's
is
a
the
lot.
problem. It's, you know, this is the key word, theory. And it's a theory until you've got some proof behind it. Sometimes conspiracy theories end up not being conspiracy theories. They become conspiracy truths, I think you called it, Eddie, last week.
But
And
is there another is there another word? I mean, that word was made up by the CIA after the assassination of JFK. Is there another? Does it have to be conspiracy theory? Can we say
Well,
something? Can we call it something else?
Yeah, pattern recognition.
Yeah.
Be another good word for it, which you could call me that more than anything else. I look for patterns, look for
Facts.
or maybe a series of events that have already happened that had this particular maybe end or goal, and then you kind of just put that together. Of course, it doesn't mean that just because it's happened 15 times in the past that this next time means this, but patterns are usually a good predictor of what's going to happen.
But if you call somebody a conspiracy theorist, in many people's eyes, you're calling that person weird or
Right, because the word was demonized.
That's what I'm
It was
saying.
meant to.
Yeah,
It was meant
it's
to.
a demonized word.
So if it's not demonized, it's okay. Conspiracy theory. If it wasn't demonized,
Absolutely.
Yeah. A theory is a self-correcting, self-validating, functional method of knowing the world.
Now, here's the thing about a conspiracy theory. I indulge in conspiracy theory from time to time because it makes you go and investigate. It points you in a direction. I wonder if this is true. Let's start to look at facts. Let's start to look for patterns. Let's start to look for something. And so I think it's healthy to believe, not so much to believe, but to want to understand a conspiracy theory, to learn more about it. I think that's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you exercise your critical thinking skills.
Absolutely.
You know, you want another example? I'll go to 9/11. I put my mind into that one for a while. I did not find enough facts for me to believe that the government planted explosives and blew the buildings up. You know, the facts that I see say that planes flew into the buildings, they fell down. You know, doesn't mean I'm right, but it's what I will go with until somebody shows me something I can really sink my teeth into.
So I worked in building 1 on the 69th floor for like 2 months. And the building moves a little bit from the wind.
Yep.
But how that building is made to have 100 and something floors, right? Up high. The amount of steel, the way that building is made, you're telling me a plane that I've seen at airports that will hit a light pole tears the plane apart. Like it hits a post at the airport, the wing or something. The planes just fall apart. You're telling me a plane is able to fly in and knock that building down the way it went down and the way it fell?
The difference is a plane wing that hits a pole at an airport doesn't cause the plane to explode. Now, let's go to that same airplane doing a landing with no landing gear on the runway, and it explodes when it impacts the ground. I'm saying that, for me, the preponderance of facts say that planes flew into the building fully loaded with jet fuel, which burns at a higher temperature than the steel is meant to withstand, brought the building down. You fly a fully loaded jet airplane into anything head on, a mountain, it will explode.
Okay, I can see maybe the building coming down from where the plane hit, but you saw the way that the building was coming down, just like detonators when they're taking an old structure down. How can a plane on the 100th floor take down the whole building? How could it take down? How could it affect the steel on the first floor, or on the second, or the 20th floor? It's up 100 and something. There's no way. There's no way.
I'm not going to argue it with you. If that's what the facts you see tell you, then that's your truth. And I'm not going to tell you wrong. I'm going to go back to what Eddie said a few minutes ago. I will respect your opinion. It's not my view of what happened. And yeah,
and I respect your opinion.
Yeah, I've got what I believe, which is the plane flew into the building, and yes, that steel is exceptionally strong. I've been in the tops of these buildings in Japan, where you can stand in a hotel room at a top floor, and you can see how far it moves. And it isn't just a little bit; it's a lot.
Yeah.
So the steel is very strong. A plane flies into it. That's not going to bring it down. But the explosion of the jet fuel and the high temperatures melts the steel structure and it collapses.
It melts the steel structure where the plane is, maybe a few floors below. How is it? The plane was up on the 90th or 100th floor. How is it melting the steel? How is that building coming straight down?
Think about how the building is built. It's built like this. So if you have this part up here with all the center support gone, it's going to go down to the next floor. And that jet fuel does not burn out that quickly. It goes down and down and down. It is no different than a controlled explosion. So by your same arguments, if the government put explosives around the 122nd floor and blew up those explosives, how would that bring it down? They would have had to have planted explosives the entire length of the building.
And from what I understand, the gentleman who owned the building took out insurance a week or so before the incident, and the contractors that usually work in that building were replaced. And for nights and nights, for months, coming in and doing stuff late at night. That's facts.
So does that speak to the fact that somebody purposefully sabotaged the building, or does it speak to the fact that maybe the guy who owned the building was using cheap labor and cutting costs, and it wasn't built to standards?
Eddie, you're quiet.
Lots of questions.
Eddie?
Yeah.
Look, guys, we're all adults. We're having a debate.
I'm right and you're wrong.
We're having
No,
a
no.
respect. Listen, this is what life is about, to be able to have healthy debates and
Absolutely.
discussions and to respect each other's opinions. Because, we all have different opinions. We all have different experiences. Eddie, what do you think?
I see a lot of. I see where Kevin's coming from, and I see where you're coming from, and my idea on 9/11 is somewhere in the middle. And I'll give you not an example, but I'll tell you about this little story. So in July of 2001, I was working for Texas DPS, and I was on an email list from the U.S. Department of Transportation. U.S. DOT had an intelligence branch, just like all the other, and of course, DHS didn't exist at that time, Department of Homeland Security. So everybody's on their own, DOJ, DOT, Treasury, everyone. So I was getting these email intelligence briefs because our area of operation included 2 seaports and about 3 or 4 border crossings. And I remember this intelligence report coming out, and this was from DOT, and it basically said, we have, from our intelligence sources in the Middle East, there is an increased chatter, as they called it, of a possible terrorist attack on the transportation infrastructure in the United States of America within the next, I think the timeline was maybe 6 to 8 weeks. And this was, I think, near the end of July, 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered it, filed it away, made our notifications of people who needed to know, hey, just keep an eye open. You see something, say something. That was kind of the moniker back in the day. So when 9/11 happened, I remember I was driving to work, 8 something in the morning, and I get a call and said, hey, airplane hit the World Trade Center in New York. And I'm thinking like Cessna 150,
Right.
I'm thinking a little airplane.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay, wow. And they said, no, you don't understand. This is a passenger jet. I was like, say it again? Passenger jet. Okay. Started waking up. It took me about 20 minutes to get to work. When I get to work and I finally come in and they said, look at this. And I see building 1, just big old smoke plume coming out of it. And I'm like, holy crap. And as I'm sitting there watching television, I then see this second aircraft go behind the building and another explosion. I was like, holy crap. What is going on? I mean, all of us. I think everyone in America, probably everybody in the world who saw that was like, what? And it wasn't until maybe an hour after that I remembered, hey, wait a minute. I heard something about this. So I go back to my computer, I pull up my email, and I saved that email for years in my career. And when I retired, I thought I had kept it, but our agency had updated mail servers, I don't know how many times, and I kept trying to move it over to the new server, and I don't know, I just got lost. But I went back to that email, and I was like, holy shish kebab. I can see where you're coming from now. There was information about a possible terrorist attack on infrastructure, transportation infrastructure. Well, the World Trade Center is not transportation infrastructure, but the means of attack was definitely under DOT, FAA, aviation, all that. And I was like, holy crap. Wow. So yeah, very, very interesting for me.
But so the question to you, Eddie, is do you think a plane that's up above 90, 95, 5th floor, 100th floor can take down the building the way it did?
I have doubts. I have doubts.
Do you think they're going to build something that high where the steel is not strong enough? And
I hear you. Okay, because I'm into aviation in a big way. Okay, you build an aircraft strong enough, just strong enough to withstand atmospheric pressure,
turbulence,
and still stay intact and keep as light as possible, because weight is the enemy of every airplane. Okay, so which means it's like a Coke can, literally an empty. Well, it's like a Coke can when it's full of soda. Okay, that's your pressurization when you're at altitude. But when you are at lower altitude, and you pour that soda out, and you can just basically take this aluminum can and squish it with your two hands. This is like what would happen if it were to hit a steel building. And of course, it's full of jet fuel. So as Kevin said, it's going to explode.
Yes.
The question is it going to make enough of a penetration into the building with all that jet fuel to create that? So when
that
I
would
look
be
at
the question,
that's the question. And then when I've seen the video that we all see, and you see the airplane, it looks like it disappears. I don't see the Coke can, the Coke can analogy.
CGI, baby.
In I don't see it playing out. But I mean, that's what I'm expecting to see, and I don't see it. That doesn't mean it didn't happen, right?
Two good points.
I just
Zario writes, no engines, no grows on the grass, nothing. No airplane parts, nothing. And then Karine says the BBC announced the collapse of Building 7 before it even happened.
Yeah, that's strange. That one.
Whoop. Change or charge battery, Eddie. Well, all right, let's not beat the whole.
So Christopher is telling me that the explosive point of jet fuel is much, much lower than the melting point of structural steel. And good old Chat GPT tells me that the melting point of structural steel is about 2,500 Fahrenheit. And the explosive maximum temperature of jet fuel is 2796. So.
Okay. And I'm not disagreeing you with that, but it was
I was answering Christopher.
Look here.
I have questions as well, but for what I see thus far, I do not believe it was planted explosions.
One of the world's best controlled demolitions experts in Holland looked at it and said it was controlled.
A guy said.
Best controlled demolition experts in Holland. Well, look, we can go back and forth on this for a long time. Let's not, that's
what I'm saying. If we go down this conspiracy theory, we're going to be here 2 or 3 hours.
I don't know if I don't think it's a conspiracy theory anymore, Eddie.
Yeah, there's not enough known, and until we know something else, we aren't going to know the truth. So, based on that, we're all going to go based off of assumptions.
Do you guys know what was in Building 7? What documents and stuff was being stored in Building 7?
I know what I was told. I don't know if that's true. Does that make sense?
Right.
I know what the press is telling us. I know what people tell us, but I don't know if that's truth or not, because I haven't investigated that.
Well,
And Daniel, don't necessarily take your information from Zariel because you're repeating what he's posting in the chat.
no, I
And,
said to you, I said, this is what Zero said, and this is what
yeah, Zariel.
Karen,
I like Zariel, nothing against him, but he says a lot of things that I do not agree with.
I was just reading what he wrote, and then the BBC did though announce, this is fact, the BBC announced the collapse of Building 7 before it happened.
That is strange. Absolutely, I agree with that. That's
a fact.
Huh?
No, I'm not regurgitating. I'm just telling you what some of our followers are writing. I have to though research the guy in Holland and see if he did say that. But I watched the way it came down, and it was coming down straight. If a plane, don't you think it might come down this way, or where the plane hit, it would come down? At least that part of the building would come down. It came down perfectly.
Okay, I'll just say this. This is the other strange part of it. Okay, so when I saw on live television the first tower collapse, I was like, whoa. And then we see the second building fall in the same fashion. And that's when I was like,
Scratching that.
because they're hit in different areas. You know what I mean? Physics. The probability of having the same outcome in the same manner
when the planes hit two different heights.
Strange for me. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going one way or the other. It was actually strange to me when I saw that. And I was like, same way.
Yeah, it's not a conspiracy theory anymore. My opinion, too much facts.
I was like,
too much facts.
My head on.
Too many facts. Definitely not a conspiracy theory anymore. Nope.
Not enough facts. It's still a conspiracy theory. We'll agree to disagree.
Yeah, my friend.
and then when we see Building 7 go down, I'm like,
what took that down?
I was like, no, man, no, no, no.
Yeah.
No.
Documents.
Now,
documents in that building.
Building 7 one, I got an issue with. I don't know why that one went down. That one is extremely, extremely strange. And had Building 7 not collapsed, I think I would have bought hook, line, and sinker the established narrative on 9/11. Hook, line, and sinker, no problem. The reason that I have these questions is because of Building 7.
How about the Pentagon?
And then, of course, the Pentagon. That's another one. That's
where's the plane? Where are the parts?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, just another one. What about MH370? Is it 370? I think that's the number of the
317, the one that disappeared over
Malaysian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we can get into that one of these days. I don't know enough of it, but I was like, wow.
There was a very small island that's not on any maps, and it landed there, and it's being held in a CIA compound.
Yeah, and all of the passengers were offloaded there and eliminated. I've heard that one too.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yanni's know. I don't know.
Guys, I'm going to have to say goodnight.
It's been a great discussion.
There's another conspiracy theory for you. Daniel is making the decision to get off, and his wife is standing behind him saying, enough of this, get off of there.
Where's she standing behind me? I had a wall behind me. No, it's, we're now hour and 45 minutes in, but it's nighttime. I have to tend to the children, and my son's leaving for camp tomorrow for 2 weeks, training camp. And you completely forgot about Orban.
Maybe we can do Orban another evening.
Can we do Orban and
Really
the,
interesting
and
to talk.
yeah, and the other president from the one who cleaned up the MI13 gang? What country is that? President of
Salvador.
Salvador. Salvador.
Yeah, we could add him to it.
I saw
too.
the interview with him with Tucker, and I couldn't look away.
Yeah,
Absolutely
it's
loved
great.
that guy.
That's great.
You know,
We still need to talk about Orban, and of course that feeds in also with Trump. And I'm interested to know how
El
that
Salvador.
Conglomerate is going to how that's going to move forward now that this has happened with to President Trump. It's going to be interesting week ahead.
Quick question. Do you think if Trump is elected, things are going to get better in America? With the border, with all the illegals that have come in the last, 3+ years, with the crime, with the drugs, fentanyl, do you think if President Trump is elected, it's all going to be cleaned up, like he says, and they're all going to be shipped out?
No. And I'll tell you why. I'll caveat my no. A lot is going to depend.
You guys answered very quickly.
I'm just going to say, a lot depends on the people that Trump puts in a position and that will be willing to carry out his mandate and his policy going forward, because he put a lot of folks in places in his last administration that went against him. Basically stabbed him in the back.
He won't do that a second term.
I don't know. I hope not.
No, he's learned. He's learned from the first term.
I hope he's learned. But that's why I have to say, I don't think it'll happen unless you put the right people in, and the right people have the same goal. And of course, remember, the same forces that are trying to knock Trump off are going to be trying to knock these other people off too. And I don't mean by, assassination. That's not what I'm talking about. But they're going to try to derail their efforts to make any drastic change to America. It's not going to be easy. Once Trump if he's reelected, he gets sworn in, he brings in all his chess pieces and players. It still doesn't guarantee anything, because there's those forces are still going to be pushing back. That's what I have to say.
Yeah. I don't know. Very, very.
No Pompeo. I agree with that.
Yeah. And also, with Kushner, his son-in-law. Well,
I will caveat my quick no answer too. You will have to listen to the deep state discussion.
But I think we can all agree on it's very interesting times that we're living in, uncertain times. And I think we're in a holy war, like good against evil, and a hand of God. I think really. So, guys, let me ask you then. After what happened at the rally with President Trump, I think it's the hand of God. I think he's the chosen one. He's the chosen one to make America great again.
I think he will make it as great as he did last time and no more.
Well, let's talk about that. His 4-year term, no wars, no conflicts, right? He started on the wall. He was really trying to get the wall up. Like,
he provoked Iran.
How about the Obama administration giving Iran back millions or billions of dollars?
I'm just saying he did some things. I don't think he's going to make it any greater than he did his first time in office. Did he drain the swamp like he said he was going to? No. And there's reasons why he didn't, and there's reasons why he won't be able to this time either.
Okay, so one more question. Was life better under Trump for 4 years, or is it better? Has it been better under Biden?
You will have to wait for the stream on the deep state to get the answers to your questions.
You guys.
Don't you love those cliffhangers, Daniel?
You guys. But guys, on a serious note, you know, for me, I live my life, you know, like I always try to be positive and happy and treat people the way I want to be treated, and always to have people in my life like you guys, you know, like-minded people. We can discuss, we can agree to disagree, you know, we can talk about our opinions, we can, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, we respect each other, we're friends, and and it's really cool. It's really important to have people like this in your life. Really, it's so nice. It really is.
Absolutely. I love this community of expats in Russia. I think it's phenomenal. I can't imagine having this group or finding a group like this as easily back in the States. So there's something here that kind of brings us all together. I think it's cool.
Right. Well,
so I'm going to answer Zariel's question here real quickly. You're going to have to come back and watch the show about the deep state.
But you know what? Go ahead, Eddie.
No, I'm just saying it's not an easy answer. I just can't sit here and say, oh, the deep state is here.
Yeah.
And if you tune in to this next live stream when we discuss the deep state, you'll understand why.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a thick subject.
I think we can all agree with Miss McInnes. McGinnis. Economy-wise, Trump wins. I think we can all agree with that. Economy-wise, Wall Street, jobs, people working, inflation's down, right? We can agree on that.
Yeah, even if you throw the unmentionable virus in the middle of it, his unemployment rates were lower. The economy did recover better.
And the streets were safer.
I enjoyed America more under the Trump administration. Take that how you will, but
Eddie, where's your MAGA hat?
Dude, I've never had one. I want one. When I go back to the States, I'm going to buy a MAGA hat and I'm going to bring it back. Yeah.
But
maybe I can order one on
mine. It's been sitting on a box, brand new, never worn.
Oh man.
Hey, keep in mind, he was president while the conflict with our neighbors was being planned.
Yeah. Behind his back, maybe. We don't know.
Wait. Whoa, that went over my head. Say that again.
You know the conflict that we as Russians currently have with our next door neighbors?
Oh.
He was president while that was planned. As Eddie says, behind his back or otherwise.
Yeah, see, he hired the wrong people. He
was surrounded by some really shady characters. I would they were on fire today, but anyway.
How about General Flynn? Real quick, your thoughts on General Flynn, because I'm like,
that's all I got to say. But
say again, I didn't hear you.
I'm in with Flynn, I'm in like Flynn, right? I dig the guy, but I don't know what role he would play, if he would play a role. Don't know, but yeah, I like the guy. I read his book. Man, I'm trying to remember the name of it. we'll discuss it when we talk about the deep state, because that book does have a lot to say about it.
And
Field of Fight, I want to say Field of Fight.
he talks a lot about fifth generation
Information
warfare.
warfare. Yeah.
Fifth generation warfare is what he talks about. And this is, I wish we would do
It's a good book.
have a live on about fifth generation warfare, so I can truly understand.
You keep asking me about that.
He
that's
talks about it.
Yeah, that's actually a simple stream. It isn't that big of a deal, and it's not brand new.
Okay,
so we will do that,
guys. Another great, I think, my opinion. I love when we get together and we just talk. I think it's
Absolutely. Had a lot of fun, guys. And
Yeah.
So
sorry
Daniel,
that,
you did fall down on the job. Is it going to rain tomorrow?
whoa, in Moscow, man, the humidity was rough today.
yeah,
I don't mind. I'll tell you a quick story. I was on a plane. I finished my my service in Germany, flew back. I took a month off. Then I had to go to Fort Hood, Texas. I'm on the plane going to Texas, my first time ever. And they you know how they tell you before you land and what the temperature? It was 110 or 108 or 110. And the guys next to me was like, "Oh, don't worry, it's a dry heat." I'm like, a dry heat? It's 108 or something like that, a dry heat.
Yeah, and Colleen's not a dry heat.
Colleen, yeah, man. It was rough for me in the beginning. It was rough.
Yeah, well, I hear your poor Muscovites are going to be up around 32 for a few days this week. I will cry for you. We would give a big glass of iced tea to have it below 32 for a change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I hear you. But we but you're by the sea, like we're in the city, so like when it's 30, 32 and it's not humid, it's okay for me. But when it's humid and there's like no breeze and we're in the city and it's hot from cars and other things, it's no good. It's no good.
You live in a jungle. What can
I'm
I
not
say?
complaining. I'm not complaining.
Jungle.
No, it's not. I don't feel like that in Moscow. Not like I did in New York City.
And you're talking about these temperatures, and Eddie's got a fire going on in the background back there.
That's what it looks like.
No, that's my warm little cozy lamp in the back,
No, it looks like it's a fire.
It's flickering like a fireplace, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I have my little lamp back there.
So
I'm trying to read Vitaly Ok.
He's talking. Have we seen the old Japanese film?
And what is this
People,
word?
He saw something with the face. Zaivodila, and he did. I don't know what he's talking about.
Me too.
I don't know. I love these challenges,
Anyway.
man, in Russian. Keep them coming.
Oh, man.
Guys, I got a good
for me.
Me too. But let's do a live with the Russian language.
Away anyway.
Yeah.
Hello,
Kevin.
down by the sea.
Is that Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin, can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Kevin?
Hello, how are
I
you?
don't think so.
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. You're
We
back.
should do a live with the Russian language.
Что?
Что?
Нет, товарищ.
Я не понимаю. Извините, Daniel.
Ладно, хорошо.
Может быть, завтра.
Miss McInnes.
Может быть, завтра.
Yeah, I've already spilled out all the Russian words I know.
Can you all three read Russian? Well, I read and write Russian and understand better than I speak.
It's easier to read than to speak.
Yeah, I can read and write much better than I can speak.
Yeah, I don't get enough speaking practice. I teach English. My day is full of English. At home with my children, it's English. They're all bilingual.
It's English, yeah.
Yeah, my wife and children are bilingual. But
And I get great encouragement from my wife. Said, "Be quiet, speak English, because nobody can understand your Russian but me."
That's cool. Maybe one of these days, maybe we'll have a 5 or 10 minute conversation in Russian.
yeah, we should try. We should try.
Hey, let me mention this real quick. Donald Trump's shooter was a registered Republican, a member of his own party.
What?
Well, that's not where I was going to go with this. They identified the shooter, and then we had some roundhead who posted a video saying, "I am," whatever the guy's name was, "and you have the wrong guy," and supposedly threatening lawsuits for defamation and stuff. And if you simply type this guy's name into Google and you get beyond the 800 news reports from today, if you do a people search on him or something, you'll find that there's dozens of guys with the same name all over the United States. So do not listen about anything. They're doing DNA on him. More information will come out on him. So
all right,
beware of the propaganda ghouls.
Yeah.
Well, more and more will come out each day. Hopefully we'll get the gist of what actually happened.
Before we leave,
it'll come on cassette tape.
Folks, before we leave, I just want to say thank you to all the viewers who stuck with us for 1 hour and 52 minutes.
Wow.
As we
Goes fast.
and we totally ripped and gypped you guys because we never spoke about Orban, but I promise you that is coming up. If you enjoyed this this content, please leave a like, share and subscribe. Subscribe to Kevin's channel, which is American Crimea.
American in Crimea, yep.
American Crimea, and Daniel Bosworth's channel,
Moscow Settlers.
Moscow Settlers, yeah.
Look for us on Telegram. If you're not on Telegram and you're in the States, you're missing out. I know that most of the folks in the States don't know about Telegram. Download it, join us there. There's a lot of good discussion going on behind the scenes. And a lot of times you'll know what we're going to talk about because we've been talking about it over on Telegram.
Yeah, Telegram, and I'm on X too. I think, Eddie, you're on X.
Absolutely. Any parting words, guys?
Thank you for everyone who was a part of this live stream. Thank you guys for inviting me and for the great discussion and the respect we have for each other. And, just enjoy life. Right? Enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, and pray.
Amen. Sarael, stand
God
by.
bless.
We'll put the links down below. We haven't added them yet, but we will. And if you don't see them right away, just check back. The links will be there, I promise.
All right.
Yeah.
Good night. Good night until we meet.
And I keep saying that we're going to download that next time. All right, guys. Y'all have a great one. Пока, пока.
Yep. Пока.
Arrivederci.